Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. What we are going to talk predominantly about are the benefits of doing a 1 year MBA in India. And we have an esteemed panel from SPJIMR's PGPM program to guide you through this. I would request you to put yourself on mute for the duration of the webinar. Question and answers will be handled, but they'll be handled once the presentation is over. If you have any questions, you can use your chat box, type out your question to all panelists. Do not unmute yourself right now till the presentation's over, and we will begin in a couple of minutes. Thank you. So, hi everyone. Again, a very warm welcome to all of you. For those of you who joined a little late, my name is Vaishali Madhavan and I work with Jamboree's admissions counseling team. What we are going to talk about today are the benefits of pursuing a 1 year MBA program in India. And we have a very qualified, very esteemed panel from the SPJIMR Institute over here with us who will take you through this topic. Again, a quick request before I introduce the panel to all of you. Please do not unmute yourself for the duration of the webinar. Any questions that you have, please use your chat box. Your questions will be addressed once the presentation is over. All right. Now, I want to take this opportunity to maybe talk about our company, Jamboree Education, for a couple of seconds. Jamboree is the oldest institute in India which offers comprehensive classroom preparation and admission counseling services for education abroad, ranging right from your undergraduate to your postdoc studies. We were founded in 1993, and right now we have 39 centers in 22 cities across 4 countries, including India, the UAE, Singapore, and Nepal. That's a little bit about us. You want to know more about what Jamboree does and how we can help you out towards your admissions journey, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions at the end. I now want to introduce our panel to you. First on our panel is Dr. Shabir Hussain. He's the Associate Program Head of the PGPM program at SPJIMR. He is an assistant professor in the marketing department at the institute, holds a doctorate from XLRI Jamshedpur, and has a management degree from IIM Calcutta. Dr. Hussain has over 18 years of experience in education. He's worked with SPJIMR, IIM Udaipur, and IIM Raipur as far as education goes. He also has tremendous experience in management consulting. He's worked with BCG, the Boston Consulting Group. He's worked in insurance and information technology as well with companies like Tata AI Life and TCS. Dr. Hussain also is currently the Associate Program Head for the 15-month PGPM at SPJIMR. So, Dr. Hussain, if you can just say a hi to our students before we begin.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Hussain, for taking out time to be with us today. I now want to introduce Mr. Bhishma Chugani. He's the head of placements at SPJIMR. He has 11 years of experience in the education industry and has headed placements at ISB, Bocconi Asia, and now at SPJIMR. He's a graduate from ISB himself and has 7 years of experience in the ITES industry across project and engagement management. So those of you wanting to go to SPJIMR, those of you worried about lateral placements, worried about career acceleration, career change, Mr. Chugani is the absolute right person to answer your queries. And Bhishma sir, if you could just say a hi to our audience, it would help them acquaint themselves with you better.
Good evening, folks.
Finally, I'd like to introduce Miss Almas to all of you. Miss Almas has approximately 12 years of work experience in the corporate and management education industry. In her present role, she manages marketing for the PGPM program at SPJIMR. So Miss Almas will be taking you through the presentation and answering a bunch of your queries on the program, as will Professor Hussain. And without further ado, I think I'm going to take a step back and let our esteemed panelists take over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaishali. A very warm good evening to all the participants who have joined the Jambori session. This is an exclusive session with Jambori and SPJN Institute of Management and Research, especially for the PGPM program. My name is Almas, and thank you, Vaishali, for the introduction. As I take you through the presentation, I request all of you to please keep yourselves on mute. And if there are any questions, please put up your questions in the chat box. We will answer them shortly once the presentation is over. So here today, the presentation will largely focus on SPJN Institute of Management and Research and the PGPM program at large. To give you a quick brief about the PGPM program, the PGPM program, that is the postgraduate program in management at SPJN Institute of Management and Research, as we call it SPJIMR, is a 15-month management program, which is 12 months on campus, preceded by 3 months of web learning module. To take you forward in the presentation, SPJIMR is proud to be a part of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, an educational institution of national eminence set up in 1938. Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has educational institutions in over 100 locations across the country, and about 3 lakh students study at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's institutions. SPJIMR was inaugurated in 1981 by the then British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. SPJIMR has always been a very practice-focused institution. The focus on top quality education and value-based learning has led to our rapid rise to become one of the topmost management institutes of the country. We are ranked amongst the top 10 in the country. Presently, SPJIMR is present only in 2 locations. We have the main center in Mumbai and a center for executive education in Delhi. To take you through the logo of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan's SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, the 5 strokes in our logo represent the 5 personality attributes of our brand and stand for SPJIMR's unique spirit. These 5 logos represent authentic, dynamic, grounded, innovative, and socially sensitive. So we look out for these qualities in our students when we interview them, and we are truly an educational institution who believes that having the right culture fit with the institute is a very integral part of students to be a part of SPJIMR. So these are the qualities that are assessed in an individual while he's seeking admissions to the PGPM program. These are a few pictures of our beautiful campus. We are in Mumbai and we are privileged to have a huge campus in Mumbai. We are situated in Andheri West, and this serene campus provides the these are a few campus, hostel, and 1 or 2 classroom pictures. To take you through the journey of PGPM at SPJIMR. PGPM is for you if you are looking for a career accelerator program. So this program acts as a career acceleration with if you already have a minimum of 5 years of full-time relevant experience and a bachelor's degree with at least 50% marks, then you are eligible for this program. And also, if you are looking to have an enriching classroom experience with batchmates with an average of 7 years of work experience. So the average work experience of the batch is around 7 to 7.5 years. So this increases your peer learning opportunities. And of course, if you are looking to learn from faculty from across industries, functions, and roles. So the faculty members at SPJIMR have the right blend of academic expertise as well as industry expertise. To briefly take you through the structure of the PGPM program, it is 3 months off-campus web learning module plus 12 months of full-time residential program. So the 3 months of web learning module for the class of 2022 will begin in October. So October to December this year will be the 3 months of web learning module. And then the students will come to live on campus in the month of January. January to December next year, January 2022 to December 2022 will be 12 months of full-time residential program. We offer 4 specializations: marketing, operations and supply chain, information management, and finance, as compared to other B schools who typically focus on general management. But that is the USP of the program, where we require candidates to choose a specialization on the basis of their past experience. We have an international immersion module, which is a unique program with the world's best universities as a part of the curriculum. Here in the international immersion module, students visit top global B schools for 3 weeks, and they complete their advanced specialization courses over there. And AICTE approved, our institution is AICTE approved and AMBA approved. And the program is the right platform for you to look forward for your career aspirations. The diploma awarded at the end of the program is the postgraduate diploma in management, PGDM executive, as we call it. The entire year is divided into 2 semesters. Here I have the list of courses and the phases for semester 1. So semester 1 is divided into 3 parts: general management phase 1, general management part 2, and general management part 3. And you can look at the list of courses that are conducted in the general management phases. where we have a very basic of general management courses that are taught in the beginning, right from financial reporting and analysis to design thinking, macroeconomics, decision science, business consulting, a basic of operations management, marketing management, strategic management, and so on. This is basically an intense program, which is approximately 800 hours of teaching instruction. And here we focus on teaching excellence and extensive use of simulations all throughout. Taking you through the four of three parts. It will have a specialization phase, you will have a general electives phase, and you will have an integration phase. And like I mentioned, we have four specializations: operations and supply chain, marketing, information management, and finance. And here we have also jotted down the list of courses under each of these four specializations. The students also go for their international immersion for 3 weeks to study at one of the top B schools across the world as an additional component in these specializations. So 3 credits of advanced specializations are done at international immersion. To take you through the next slide, this is in a little more in detail about the international immersion. International immersion is for 3 weeks at top global B schools across the world. Typically, operations and supply chain students go to Michigan State University. Information management students go to McCombs School of Business, University of Texas at Austin. And the marketing and finance students go to the Cornell University. The entire batch goes for these advanced specialization courses. It is mandatory. And like I mentioned, 3 credits are awarded for completion of the specialization courses at these B schools. Here sharing with you some past pictures of international immersion. Coming to career services. The PGPM program provides 100% placement assistance to all its participants. In the pursuit to have 100% placements for all the students at SPJIMR, we provide various platforms where students can build upon themselves. We have something called as career journey mapping, where your career journey is typically mapped to an alumni who has a very similar journey as yours. You seek guidance from alumni. There are profile discussions. We have experts who come to you, who talk to you about your profile and give you deeper insights as to how you can take the way forward from there. We have role clarity workshops and resume building. We have a set of experienced professionals who come and guide you as far as role clarity is concerned, or how you can build your resume further. We have communication skills and interview training workshops, wherein we have again professionals who tell you that how to communicate effectively. They will train you for the interviews. They will talk to you. They will guide you about your tone, your language, your communication, how to answer specific interview questions. So all of that is also taken care of. And then of course we have placement sales services, where 100% placement assistance is provided to all the students who take admission with us. But having said that, I would like to share with you the accomplishment of the PGPM class of 2020. We take pride in the fact that the PGPM class of 2020 has accomplished 100% placements even in COVID situation. The average salary hike over incoming salary was 95%, and the highest salary hike over incoming salary was 325%. And this is purely because of the dedicated efforts of members of the placement team at SPJIMR, faculty members who have supported students at SPJIMR, and the effort of the PGPM students that they have put in the difficult COVID year. And everything has come out beautifully, and they have managed a very successful placement season for themselves. So talking about admissions to the PGPM class of 2022. The PGPM class of 2022, we have something called as rolling admissions, and we also give early offers to excellent candidates. Early offers and rolling admissions will help you smoothly transition from a full-time job to SPJIMR. Interviews are typically conducted on a rolling basis from April to September. Each application is examined as soon as it is received, and you are quite likely to get interviewed before the application deadline, and results can also be declared early. PGPM extends early offers to candidates meeting all the criteria. Some candidates may even get an admission offer before the last date of application has elapsed. So our application is now open. Please look up on our website for details. So what are we looking for in a candidate? We are looking for a consistent academic performance, a valid CAT or GMAT score. We are looking at the quality of your work experience. So you should have strong domain knowledge and consistency. You should have reasonable clarity on your career plans. You should have very good communication skills and thinking process and very good articulation. And we also assess whether you are a right fit to the institute. So in terms of courage and heart, we look at those qualities when we are assessing our candidates. Of course, besides all of the above criteria, we are looking for candidates to be authentic. One should have a desire to learn, a leadership potential, maturity, self-awareness, initiative, and high energy levels. How can you be a part of PGPM? The eligibility criteria is a minimum of 5 years of relevant work experience as on 8th October 2021. Like I mentioned, the application form is open for the class of 2022. You should have a bachelor's degree from a recognized university with minimum 50% marks, a valid CAT or GMAT score. We are accepting GMAT scores for the last 5 years, right from 15th August 2016 to 31st of August 2021, and CAT scores of the last 3 years, 2018, 19, and 20. The important dates for you to keep in mind to apply for the PGPM program is the last date to apply is 15th of August 2021, and the last date to submit your GMAT score is August 31, 2021. The program fees is 20.50 lakhs. I am also sharing the apply now link of the PGPM application form. I'll just hold this slide for 5 seconds. If somebody wants to take a screenshot of the same, please feel free to do so. These are the contact details. You can call us on our mobile number. There is an email address that is provided to you, which is admissionspgpm@spjimr.org. And our website is www.spjimr.org/pgpm. You can follow us on any of our social media handles. We are present across Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If anybody wants to scan for our social media pages and our website. Thank you so much. And now with this, I'll stop screen sharing and we will look at the questions that have come up in the chat box. And Dr. Shabbir Hussain and Mr. Bhishma Chugani will address these questions for us. So I understand there have been quite a few questions, and while I was screen sharing, I could not go through all the questions in detail. But I'm just scrolling my chat box, and there is a first question from Akrit. He says, can we share our profile directly with SPJIMR for a profile assessment for suitability? If yes, please share the contact details. I have 11 years of work experience, sales and marketing functions. I can request Professor Shabbir Hussain to please answer this question.
So, Akrit, in terms of our 11 years of experience, I don't think we can take a call purely on one number, right? So the admissions to the PGPM program, we take into consideration a composite score, which includes your 10th, 12th, the graduation, in your application form that you fill in, we not only look at the number of years of experience, we also look at what has happened during those years. So I think it's a composite element. So blanket, if I look at a number year 11, can I take a call? Whether it's a good number, a bad number, the answer is no. I think each applicant is viewed as a very different kind of a profile. And that's the beauty, I think, of any lateral program, not just about the PGPM program, but SPGMR. I think that's the beauty of any lateral program, that each applicant is a very different applicant. A 6-year that you bring in or a 6-year that someone else brings in could be two very different 6 years kind of a thing. So I don't think, Almas, I can give a blanket answer in terms of whether 11 years kind of would suffice, not suffice. But do we have participants in that range? The answer is yes. So we do have, I mean, normally you will probably find more often than not, the applicants would be in the range of a 5 to 12 years kind of a bracket. That's what the broad range of experience is. The average experience to the batch is around a 7.5 years kind of a range. But we do have exceptions in very select cases where that experience is on the higher side beyond a 12.
Thank you, sir. Akrit, we have shared our contact details in the presentation. We will also share it shortly in the chat box. So I hope that has answered your question. There is another question from, I can't make out the name, it just says H. It says, I have 10 years of work experience in PSU. Is there any chance of shortlisting for interview for the 1-year program?
So again, goes back, right? We do have candidates within that 5 to 12 years bracket. And historically, we have had a large number of applicants who have come from the PSU bracket as well. So you will find across sectors, you will find a lot of IT, you'll find people from banking. And I think PSU is, again, a strong segment which has, wherein our participants have come. So does your tenure at a PSU kind of disqualify you? The answer is no. I think that's, just like I responded to the earlier one, the overall call in terms of your profile will be based on a composite piece. But does a 10-year kind of fit into the bracket? The answer is yes. Does a PSU obstruct that? No.
So there is also a question from Ram. Can you elaborate on the admissions process, test interview, fee? So Ram, I have shared the details in my presentation. For complete details as far as admissions process, I don't know if you've missed the presentation. You can look up on our website. We will shortly share the website link with you. There is also a question from Barun Jayant. He says, do you have AACSB approval? Yes, Barun, we have AACSB approval. Yeah, I think this question, possibly Mr. Bhishma can take this up. It says, when we say 5 years of relevant experience is the minimum prerequisite for the program, does relevant mean only people in management or leadership roles? This person has 5.5 years of work ex in IT and technology. Do you think I can appear for this course?
Yeah, so 5 years of experience, at least, relevance is always a subjective nomenclature, but I'll answer that in 2 parts. You need to have 5 years plus of experience where you can demonstrate that you worked. If you have pay slips and let me say work records to support the same, that will meet the criteria. Having said that, just that's the criteria to apply, but the criteria to succeed is also if you can build on why you want to do the program, what are you intending to achieve from the program, all of that will go a long way during the admissions. So application will be easy, I can assure you. You will be eligible for applying, but I would say build up on what do you see yourself after the program as well. So I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bhishma, there is again one more question pertaining to your area of expertise. This person, Mr. PS, he says, I have 14 years of work experience in automotive industry. I am on the higher side of experience to be shortlisted. What are the prospects after completion of the course in terms of career progression?
I will agree. In terms of being on the higher side of experience of the prospective candidates, yes, but that is not only for the PGPM, I would say that is for the MBA at large. Across B schools globally, I would say 14 years of experience, somebody going to do a full-time course is relatively less. And I wish there were more people like you, honestly. But having said that, you are on the higher side of the experience, but that doesn't hold you, it will not hold your candidature back. What will be more important is how can you demonstrate in your application, having spent 14 years, what are your plans for the 1 year? What are the skills you intend to build on during this 1 year at the PGPM program? And how do you plan to leverage both your experience and this education to where do you want to go next? Building that story out is important, not only for yourself, but for us. We sometimes, sometimes we reject candidates not because they were not good. They were excellent on paper up till now. But if what they want from the program is not what the program can deliver on, then we reject only because the program cannot deliver on what we think the candidate wants. So it's important to know what you want and whether PGPM fits in as a great, let me say, fit in for what you want to achieve in the future. So I'll pause there for the moment.
Great. Thank you so much for that answer. There is another question from Bhavini Garg. She says, I am a construction professional with 6 years of industry experience at a top construction company in India. I would like to know about the placement scenario of PGPM for a profile like me, and how is the alumni network like? So Bhishma, this question is again for you.
A very, very valid question. And I think you're not the only one. You're not the only one. I just got a glimpse of somebody who was a seafarer. We've got people who are ex-Navy. We've got ex-Merchant Navy. We've got ex-Army at times. We've got doctors. We've got, so the diversity is huge. Now you are, the question may come that, I'm not the, let me say, 5 years to 7 years of IT experience or operations, heavy industries experience or marketing experience, looking to do MBA and thereafter moving to either technology or supply chain or logistics. I'm not one of those. So given the entire pool of people, I am outside of that pool of people. And that's perfectly okay. What we do from a placement side is, from a support towards placements for all categories that are not what I would call the regular MBA candidate. I'm not saying that the others are regulars or bad or anywhere ordinary in any way, but just that it's not the mainstream that you see in this country. What we do is we profile each person. So for example, we've had Niftians who were in retail go into consulting. So what we do is we see a lot of diversity and background of people who come to the program with a certain intention of what they want to do. I will not deny, and we will also appreciate that, yes, while you have a certain story while applying to the program, many people again start from scratch in terms of what they want to do once they're in the program. And then during the course of the program, we encourage exploring ideas and areas that you can grow your career in. Now, if one of the bulk, or let me say, there are certain companies in this country who will come and hire in large numbers. They will come to SPJIMR as well. But if you are a person for whom one of the recruiters, which is ideal for you, doesn't come to campus already, because the company doesn't know you are on campus, we provide support in ensuring you are represented in front of all the companies possible, where we may have institutional connect in order to present you as a PGPM candidate with your experience towards those companies. Now, the number of companies in India are far in excess to the number of candidates in the program. For 150 or 130 students, we can't have 500 companies coming to campus. It doesn't make sense. So we'll have the bulk recruiters. Every campus will have bulk recruiters, but we always have a special, let me say, thrust going towards candidates who come with backgrounds that are not along with the majority. So we work individually with each person, and we try to see what best we can do from a careers perspective in order to have them be presented to companies that are more in line with the background that they bring over here. So I hope I was able to answer your question on that front.
Thank you so much for that one. Dr. Shabir, the next question is coming to you. This is from Ronit Jain. He says, I have a work experience of 6 years in accounts and finance. 10th standard 69%, 12th standard 66%, BCom 68%. Is my profile weak for the PGPM course?
I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. I think so in terms of the classical cutoffs which are there. I think you are above the threshold, right, on those cutoffs. However, that does not guarantee a shortlist. All I'm saying is the number that you have given us are above our rejection numbers, at least in terms of, let's say, 5 years experience or a AICT mandated requirement, which is there of a graduation score, 10th and 12th. You are above all of them. Now, again, going back, we will probably have to look at your overall profile, your work experience. So just the number that have been mentioned, Almas, I don't think the numbers are below a threshold, which has a bare minimum threshold. Beyond that, is it a good profile? Is it not a good profile? I think the overall application only, once we look at that, we'll be able to take a call on that. But
Yes,
the numbers are above the threshold, the ones that you mentioned.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you so much for that answer. There is a question from Umesh. He's asking for the GMAT score cutoff. Umesh, the average last year was around 660. So there is no cutoff per se, but the average is around, last year was around 660. There is a question from Anirban. He says, where can I see the placement details of the program? Anirban, the placement reports are put up on our website, which is spjimr.org/pgpm/placements. We will share the link shortly with you. You may please check the complete details of the placements on our website. You can see details right from 2017 up till the latest one. There is a question from Rajesh, which is very interesting. Rajesh says, please mention the ROI. So I'm not sure. Shabir sir, would you like to take that question?
So, Rajesh, ROI on multiple things. Huh? So one looks at it from a very short-term perspective. What happens to my incoming versus outgoing salary? What happens to how much money I have put in right now for this program, and what is my outgoing kind of a salary? How do I do that comparison? So I will leave those comparisons for you, because you know what your incoming numbers are, what the fees is, and what the average salary is. I will leave that to you. To me, I think you should not look at it from a first salary return ever, wherever you do your MBA. I think this is a investment that you are making in yourself. This is an investment in education that you are making, through which you're also signaling to people about your potential that you have developed in terms of your ability to take correct business decisions. So I think if you look at it from that perspective, a lot of things become intangible. And I think when you compare your ROI also, if you want to still come out to a hardcore number-driven ROI, take a look at your outgoing from an SPJMR, do whatever extrapolation that you want to do with your numbers, wherever you see yourself fitting, whether you sort of see yourself fitting at an average or you see yourself fitting at a top 25%, do your numbers there. Follow it up with the numbers that you would probably expect in a 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And a classical MBA would probably say, Acha, let's discount this and come up to a number. But to me, I think that's probably not the right way of looking at in management education. For that matter, any investment in education, it is an investment that you are making in yourself. But still, in terms of a numbers, I think you will get all of those numbers. Those calculations will be easy. I will leave those calculations for you. And I think on those calculations also, you will the program will clear the bar, whatever you've set for yourself. But I would urge, don't take the program purely from that perspective. I think look at it from an investment in yourself perspective.
Thank you so much, sir. There is another question from Suman. Is the fees inclusive of international immersion program? Yes, Simar. Yes, Suman, the fees is inclusive. It is all inclusive, inclusive of the international immersion program as well. There is a question from Abhijit Menon. Is this a diploma or a degree course? Abhijit, the diploma that is awarded post completion of PGPM program is PGPM executive. So that is what is awarded to you. Do we need IELTS or TOEFL for PGPM program? No, we only require a valid CAT or GMAT score. There is a question from Himanshu. Do you consider a gap in experience? He has 10 years of experience and has 2 years of gap. Shabir sir, would you like to answer that question?
So I think here your overall experience as far as the evaluation, etc., is concerned will be taken as an 8 years. Is a gap acceptable? So I think we would not reject a candidate purely on that basis that look, someone has a gap. I think the program wants to understand who you are as a person. Whenever we do our interviews, I think the idea is to understand you as a candidate. What is your motivation of doing this program? By doing this program, will you be adding value to the participants at SPJMR, which is what we look for when we take you? We also look at whether the program will add value to you as a candidate or not. So I think we do both those fitments. It should not happen that at the end of the program, you are kind of not as well off as you were before the program. So for doing all of that, we would want to understand you as a candidate. So I think whenever, let's say if you apply and let's say if all of the thresholds get passed, you get into the interview round, the interviewers would want to understand what was the rationale behind that 2 years of gap year, because I'm sure there would be some, right? One would not want to just in general take a 2-year break. And even if you're doing that, there would still be strong reasons, you know. So will it be a kind of hold against you? The answer is no.
Great. Thank you so much, sir, for that one. There is a question from Abhishek Sharma. 5 years of work experience in supply chain and 640 GMAT score or 89 percentile in CAT. Do you think I should write GMAT again? 10th standard 91.8%, 12th standard 84%, graduation 73.9%. Shabir sir, would you like to take that question?
I think he can apply. I think Abhishek can apply. Because I think again, as I said, no, I'm not taking any call right now in terms of whether the candidate will be shortlisted or not, right? I'm not taking that call. That's a disclaimer, standard disclaimer. It is just that when I look at the numbers and if I assume that the work experience is a good, relevant kind of a work experience, I think the numbers, etc., that you are mentioning, Almas, would probably fall under a shortlisting kind of a piece. I think we've had candidates with similar kind of profiles being shortlisted, but again, a lot would depend on their work ex, a lot.
Yes, sir, definitely. Abhishek, I hope that answers your question. There is a question from Karanveer. I joined the organization on 10th October 2016, and I'm completing 5 years on 10th October 2021. Am I eligible to apply for this year? Karanveer, we need a minimum of 5 years of work experience as on 8th October 2021. This is very specifically mentioned on our website. You may please look into the greater details that are available on the website. There is also an interesting question for Bhishma from Jyoti. Jyoti says, I have 7 years of experience in IT industry. Is there a chance I can change the domain post MBA like supply chain or marketing?
Yeah, definitely. Possibility of change is very high. I always keep saying that one has to, however, work towards it, because what happens is, let's say, just the same way you come from an IT background, and if a chartered accountant who's been practicing accountancy and is currently with the finance team of your company, after 7 years says, I want to come and now work on the IT side, you would say that, you don't even know programming. How do I take you in my team? And that person is in fact looking for a managerial role. So to that extent, he or she would need to bring in the skills you bring in, the skills that the chartered accountant will bring in would be skills of managing people, understanding business, and could look at a business analyst role or a client's facing role in financial services in the IT space. So that's how you would reconcile somebody who's not from the IT space to come into the IT space. Similarly, you will have to work on reconciling yourself with what skills you bring to the table in terms of how do you, so it's not like when you come to the MBA program at SPJMR, and if you decide to do information management, that you will only learn about IT and information management. You have to learn about everything. You have to learn about finance, you have to learn about marketing, operations, supply chain. And to that extent, even recruiters call for interest from every applicant of the program. It's not like IT company says we don't want operations guys, or that marketing companies say or sales company says we don't want people from information management. Nothing of the sort. The thing is, you have to demonstrate in the CV how you have brought in business knowledge from the 7 years at IT, how much you have learned over the course of this 1 year, and how much more you've studied about the industry and best practices around there, and how you're a great fit for the role that you want to move into, either supply chain or for marketing. So is the shift possible? Yes. Will you have to work more for it, vis-a-vis working to go back to information technology or IT consulting? Yes, you'll have to work a little bit more because it's a shift in industry. So to be able to demonstrate, the work will be more. But have people made that shift in the past? Yes, they have. So can you do it? Definitely.
Thank you, Bhishma. There is a question from Shashank Shekhar. Are there PGPM program alumni from SPJIMR working in US? Yes, Shashank, we have alumni working across the world. We have a huge database of alumni. The present batch, or the class of 2021, is the 17th batch on campus. So this program has been successfully running for the last 17 years. We are a very well-established program. There is also a question from Shashank. Can someone pursue a PhD in finance in US after completing PGPM at SPJIMR? Professor Shabir, if you could take that question.
So yes, the answer is yes, but at the same time, one would want to understand, right? I think motivations for doing a PhD after this program, because so I think one would want to understand the motivations a lot here in this case, Almas, because the two things which direct people in very different kind of a direction. No one would want to understand the motivations here.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Definitely. There is a question for Bhishma from Badal Singh. Badal says, I am from the project management domain, having experience in project strategy development and operations. Can you elaborate on placements at SPJIMR's PGPM course?
So I'll answer again this in two parts. One is, I think sometimes the underlying question that we all have is, given the background, so for example, program management, projects, the question in your mind would be, what kind of job will I get after the B School program? So that could be, if I were to paraphrase your question, and I hope I'm right in that way. So there are two aspects to it. One is, what are some of the roles and companies that are already visiting campus? Number one. Number two, which is more important, what is it that you want to get into? So you know the experience you have. Now, sometimes you may also say, I'm open to multiple things. So what we have seen many people come to the program and look at is that I was doing what I was doing, and the one thing I'm sure of is, post MBA, I do not want to do what I was doing before. So most people do the MBA to do something different from what they were doing before. So fair enough. Often they're not entirely sure, and I'm one of them as well. Once upon a time, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, and that's also perfectly okay. So can you do, like consulting is an option. Inside of technology, outside of technology, both are options. Especially over the last 2 years, we've seen a big shift take place towards digital and moving towards online. So that whole space is available to you. That's available to almost everybody now because the demand is so high over there. So again, given you've got program and project management, you could again go for project and program management in like industry. I mean, not necessarily in the same industry, but in parallel industries, you could do that. If you want to pick up a business role or a business development role, you could look at that. People have gone on to do demand planning as well. Some roles such as procurement, which tend to be a little more specialized. I've seen procurement folks tend to favor people from procurement background more. So that I would say is perhaps a little stretch, and the numbers there tend to be smaller in terms of hiring. So like this, there's a whole sphere of roles available. You could pick and choose that these are ones I am okay with, these are ones I'm not okay with, and these are ones that are ideal for me, and we can work towards that. So do I have a straight answer that this is what you could do? You could do practically everything, but we just have to work together on what you could explore. I would strongly recommend. Yeah, you could go through the placement. The placement report that we generate each year. It'll give you a good idea of the number of companies and the kind of roles that came to campus and recruited. But remember, that doesn't have a bigger picture of the number of companies that came to campus but did not recruit because we didn't have sufficient number of applicants, or the match didn't take place between the student and the company for whatever reason, or the number of companies that we reached out to for the students, but it didn't click for whatever reason. So the outreach is much more. It will depend on what you want to do. So again, I'll park it here. I don't know if I've answered your question. I spoke a lot, but I haven't answered your question perhaps, but I hope I got some flavor through.
Thank you so much, Bhishma, for that insight. Again, there is a very interesting question, which is, one second, I'm just looking up on the chat box. Yes, this is for Professor Shabir Hussain. What should be an ideal GMAT score? That is the first one. During the preceding courses which will be conducted offline, do we need to resign from our company? Only reason I'm asking this is I have a contract with the current organization in terms of joining bonus. And the third one is, how is the interview process like? We will be having group discussions or case studies along with PI. So this is from Mr. Ashish Singh to all the panelists. Yeah.
Sure. So Ashish, one is, do you need to resign during the offline? The answer is no. I think, but when you come to campus, which happens next year, only then will you have to resign. During the offline bit, the courses are conducted by the faculty members on weekends. So essentially Saturdays and Sundays is when the classes are conducted. And every year we have participants who resign, I think about 2-3 months after the offline module has started. So that's an offline module. So that is one. In terms of the interview process, so it's the process has essentially 3 parts to it. The first part is a case study round that we have, wherein all the applicants are given a case study, and you have to present part of that case study as your own analysis, and then the panelists expect you to do a quick group discussion around that. That is round 1, rather a case study round. That is followed by a round 1 interview, which is essentially testing you on your technical fundamentals that you so it's probably whatever your work experience is, your background, etc. So it's a slightly more technical kind of an interview, which is what we call a round 1 interview. A round 2 interview is a fitment kind of an interview, wherein a lot of the conversation revolves around your value fitment and stuff, which Almas, when she was presenting her slide and she talked about what is it that we look for at SPJMR, I think one of the elements that we strongly look for is the value fit, and which also goes back to one of the questions which was mentioned in the chat. Does it matter if I have some sort of a NGO kind of I mean, do you also give weightage to that besides stellar WorkX and GMAT? The answer is yes. I think we are looking for well-rounded professionals. People, I think that SPJMR can also be probably proud of when we say that these people are our alums. So I think we look for a bunch of those things. And so that's primarily the 3 parts. The case interview followed by a round 1 interview, which talks about your technical skills, and the round 2 interviews wherein we look for a more value fit kind of a thing. Almost related to that, a couple of other things which I think, as I was going through the chat, some of the quick ones which I found kind of recurring kind of questions. Is a GMAT required if I have done exceptionally well across the board? The answer is yes. A GMAT or a CAT is a non-negotiable. Less than a 50% we cannot take, because that's an AICT kind of a mandate. In terms of the number of batches that we run every year, the 1-year program, we have only 1 batch for this one batch every year. The interview process, for which is, as Almas mentioned, is an ongoing, it's a rolling process. While the applications will, the deadline is the 15th of August. We process applications as and when they come, because I think this was also one of the questions. So we process applications as and when they come. We've already started doing our interviews, and we also give out early interview offers. So a set of participants have already been given out early interview offers. I think for people who had applied till about the 31st of May, we are going to conduct their interviews in June, which is the June round of interviews. In case if you are looking at appearing for the July round of interviews, you will probably have to finish your applications latest by 22nd June. So the idea is, I think we take candidates as and when the applications come and close the candidates where we feel are above the threshold, the composite score threshold that we expect at a SPJM or PGPM program. So I think, Almas, I just thought, well, there was these bunch of questions which were keep kind of propping up. I'll just answer them in one go.
Yes, sir, definitely. That highlights a very important point for all of the prospective applicants over here. If you wish to be considered for the July round of interviews, please apply latest by 22nd June, and you will be called for the interviews in the month of July. That is a very important point that Professor Shabir has highlighted. There is also a question for Bhishma. He says, I want to know the prospects for a seafarer, a merchant navy candidate, not just getting an admission, but getting good placements too. Any past alumni?
Yeah, so we do have past alumni who've been in shipping and seafarers as well. So there are different skills that we have seen recruiters tend to look at in seafarers. One of them being, the ability to have discipline beyond the ordinary. Number two, they see that there's a lot of resilience in most people who are seafarers. Three, they've seen that, after having lived at sea with no family around, their ability to travel and have other consideration and challenges from life are lesser, as opposed to people like me who've been on land throughout and have had a relatively cushier life. So these are skills that people tend to look at. So then, there are a lot of companies, let's say, sometimes in the consulting, sometimes in the logistics. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of move take place in the organized logistics space. So let's say the Udans or the Amazons, the Flipkarts. There's a lot of online marketplace increase that's taken place, and a lot of online marketplace deliveries that also need to be taken care of. So as a result of which, we've seen significant offtake in that space. And as a seafarer and somebody who's been working with, in a way, you've been executing supply chain and logistics as a seafarer. So these are all industries and avenues that can be explored. Now you need to believe that. If you believe that those are skills I bring to the table, those are industries I would love to contribute to, after having done my bit at sea, then sure, we can explore that. So, I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, definitely. That was insightful. There is a question from Abhishek. Good evening, respective members. What are the chances of a candidature being considered having about more than 8 years of work experience, an MBA or PGDM degree, about 720 plus of GMAT score, but less than 50% in graduation? Shabir,
I think,
sir,
Almas,
would you
I
like to
answered
answer?
no. I answered no.
Yeah,
I think that's it's an ACT kind of a requirement, so we can't do much with it.
Yeah, so we require a minimum 50% in your graduation. The program is strictly for people with 5+ years of work experience. There is again a question from Jyoti. If someone earns around 16 lakhs per annum, is it worth doing an MBA in India? And can he get good placement opportunities? Bhishma, that is for you.
Could you repeat that? I missed out a bit of the question.
Yes, definitely. If someone earns around 16 lakhs per annum, 16, is it worth doing an MBA in India? And can he get good placement opportunities?
So I would imagine you're beginning to think whether to do the MBA in India or to go abroad and do it. So definitely doing MBA abroad has its merits and demerits in today's day and age. If you were asking me this question in 2006, it would have been a different answer. In 2021, it's a different answer because there's a lot of change that's happened in the visa regulations across the world. As a result of which, the ease with which people were able to secure opportunities post MBA abroad, after doing the MBA abroad, were significantly much higher. We are seeing a large number of people doing their MBA abroad and coming back to India for placements. Number one. Number two, what we're also seeing is a number of people who were doing MBA earlier in India were also securing opportunities abroad because of the relatively open visa regime. In today's day and age, barring perhaps parts of the Middle East and Africa, there are no campus placements happening in other parts of the world. Could be one or rare instances, but otherwise most campuses will report less than, single digit numbers outside of the Middle East and Africa or Southeast Asia, let's say. So the visa regime has become tough. Is it worth doing it in India? I would imagine you must be saying, because I'm earning already. So if the average incoming across B schools with experience is generally in the 10 to 12 lakh range, and you already at 16 lakhs, you're wondering, okay, is this gonna give me enough return? I don't want to say an answer yes and say yes, you'll get your return. I have seen people with 4 lakhs before MBA secure 20 plus lakhs. I've seen people with 18 lakhs before MBA secure 19 or 20 lakhs after MBA. And I've also seen people with 16 lakhs MBA secure 32 lakhs after MBA. So the range is very high. The range of possibility is very high. Do I have a single answer for right now that it will be worth it? No. But I would refer back to what Shabir sir was saying a little while ago, is that don't look at the return on investment from the first paycheck. The return on investment is 3-4 fold. The alumni pool that you have. Some people will, I have seen people offtake with one of the best paychecks from campus, but a few years down the line are practically at the same level. I've seen people offtake at a very low salary also, but then race ahead of the others. Sometimes they don't race ahead of the others. So by and large, there's a lot of, overall trajectory will be upwards. There'll be some who will be a little ahead at times, some who will be a little behind at times. I would say to decide if this is a life you want to lead. Most candidates, I won't even say for the PGPM program, I'll say across the 1-year MBA program, will talk about the change in thinking, the change in approaching work, the change in approaching businesses that occur after doing the program. And I cannot describe it. I cannot describe it till you don't, you have to experience the MBA to get a sense of what changed. Personally, I went through so many TV, so many commercials and so many TV clippings and movie clippings were shown as part of the classroom that after the MBA, watching any movie meant I'm trying to search a case study in it and say this is the learning from it. I couldn't watch Chak De India properly after my MBA. So it's a change in thought process that takes place after doing the B School program. Now, can you put a monetary value to it? I don't know. So I would say look at it from a perspective that it will change your life. That I can assure you. And now if you want to put a monetary value to that, you can. But I would encourage not to do it. Do it as an experience. And I can assure you, most people go back saying that they got returns better than what they were expecting. That's all I can put out there.
Thank you so much, Bhishma. I am considerate of the fact that it is 7:33 and we will possibly take only 2 questions after this and then we will close the webinar for today. But there is a very interesting question which says, I wanted to know what are the roles that an individual gets after doing a specialization in operations and supply chain. And if you could name a few companies as well who come to hire for operations and supply chain.
The roles they vary a lot. I can't so almost every company you see in the placement report, be it Accenture, Sapient, Infosys, Udaan, Delivery, practically every company, PwC, KPMG, every company will come and look at people from operations as well, and people went also. What roles? Consulting is a big one, both consulting on the ops side as well as consulting on the tech side. So this year we had a lot of tech consulting folks hire people from operations as well. So an important aspect we learned this year. So consulting is one. In the delivery side as well. So on the industry side, people went as internal consultants. They went as project managers for strategic projects. They went into a number of roles on the business side of heavy industries as well. So we had heavy industries hire for specialized roles within the company. We had consulting companies hire people from operation side to help with solutions towards their clients. So these were two large buckets I would put them in. But I'll encourage you to come to one of the subsequent programs that we have. Again, we keep having these webinars on or these Q&As on placements. Encourage you to come to some of them as well. We'll give more insight on what else we can do.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
The links which you are putting, you might want to put to all panelists and attendees, because right now I'm not sure whether they'll be reaching to the attendees.
Okay. Yes,
so I think so. Almas has a lot of these links where a lot of these data points, etc., are. And I think while we're running out of time today, what you might want to do, I think Almas will also be sharing with you a phone number. So you might want to message your queries on that. Two, I think what that will also do is, I think as Bhishma was just mentioning, there are multiple of these sessions that we are doing in parallel where we are addressing individual queries. There are info sessions. So I think, and I think we also realize that I think we've missed out on a lot of your questions for want of time. So I think just mention your whatever your query or interest is on that number that Almas has mentioned in the chat, and we will definitely come back to you. And given then, I think there'll not be a time constraint, right, in terms of reverting back. Each of your queries will individually be reverted back, the ones that you send on that number. So that I think we will definitely do.
Great. Thank you so much, sir, for that. I have posted all our relevant social media handles, our website links on the chat box. This coming Wednesday, we have a very interesting WhatsApp chat session for 2 hours that is coming up on our social media. You will be able to check that, and you will also be able to register for it. Please look up on our social media handles. We are very active over there, and you will be able to find all the relevant up-to-date information on our social media handles and on website pages. In case if you are not able to gather any information, or if you require any assistance, please contact us on the mobile number that has been put up on the chat. And while in the interest of time at 7:37, I ask and request Vaishali to take it forward from here for the closure. Thank you, Vaishali.
Thank you everyone for attending today. We hope the session was useful for all of you. I would request you all to message your queries to the number that has been put out. In case you have any specific queries for SPJIMR, you can always send them to that number. If you have any queries about your profile or how Jamboree can help you, you can write to us at admissions@jamboreeindia.com. Thank you for being such a delightful audience. Thank you to our panelists for taking out time today to address all of you. And with this, I will just end the webinar. Have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thanks, Vaishali. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Team Jamboree. Thank you, participants. Have a great day.
Thank you.